I hope everyone had a great Easter. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Megan, will you call the roll?
Yes, Trustee Lautner?
Here.
Trustee Zora?
Here.
Trustee Council? Oh, is absent. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. Trustee Sheehan?
Here.
Trustee Stewart? Trustee Caputo? Trustee Caputo?
Here.
President DeCipio?
Here.
A quorum is present, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. First up is public participation. Would anyone care to address the board? Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda. Megan?
Thank you, Mr. President. The items on this evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes. 1, Village Board meeting, March 25th, 2025. 2, Village Board closed session meeting, March 25th, 2025. 3, Village Board work session meeting, April 8th, 2025. B, action, abolish working cash fund. Motion to approve a resolution authorizing and approving the abolishment of the working cash fund maintained by the Village of Grange Park and transfer all funds in the Village working cash fund to the Village general fund. C, action, accounting services agreement. Motion to approve a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a professional service agreement for accounting services between the Village of Grange Park and Lauterbach and Amon LLP. D, action, fiscal year 25-26 pay plan. Motion to approve an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2025-26 employee pay plan and schedule of authorized positions for the Village of Grange Park. E, action, accounts payable and payroll summary. Motion 1, to authorize the president and chairperson of the finance committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks and payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. And motion 2, to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and the next village board meeting, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its next meeting.
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, roll call. Megan?
Second.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Moving on, village manager's report. Julia?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 2 items to report on this evening. The first is regarding the LaGrange Road Traffic Safety Improvements Project Public Open House. This open house is taking place tomorrow evening on April 23rd from 5 to 7 p.m. at the LaGrange Park Library. Pedestrian safety is a top priority in the Village Market area, and so we welcome all residents to come to this open house and share their thoughts. The second item is also a community outreach reminder, and that is for Thursday evening. The Village is hosting a neighborhood dialogue at Happier Now from 6 to 7:30 p.m. to discuss updates and answer questions related to the purchase of 1024 Newberry. And with that, that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Julia. In the absence of trustee council, I've asked trustee Zora to give the administration committee's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to report the April 2025 administration report. ADA transition plan survey is closing soon. The Village of Grange Park is developing an ADA transition plan to improve sidewalk accessibility. Your input is important. Please complete the short public survey online or in person at Village Hall. The survey closes soon, so don't miss your chance to provide feedback and make Grange Park more accessible for all. Visit the website for details. The Village's annual Community Volunteer Day will take place Saturday, May 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Volunteers will provide assistance to older adults in the community who need help with basic lawn care and spring cleaning. This day of service is a great opportunity for individuals, families, and organizations to support their neighbors and make a positive mark on the community. Visit the Village's website to register for the event or to request volunteer assistance. Contact Maggie Jar for more information. Finally, the Village will be seeking new members to serve on the Youth Commission during the next school year. This is a great opportunity for students in grades 7 through 12 to engage with their peers on the community issues. Meetings are held once a month on Monday evenings from September through June. Visit the Village's website to learn more and apply by June 13th. And I have one item for discussion and action. The Local Government Travel Expense Control Act mandates that a local government's corporate authorities must approve by roll call vote all travel expenses by the corporate authorities. On April 1st through April 3rd, village representatives attended annual IML Lobby Day in Springfield, Illinois. The trip gave attendees an opportunity to meet with legislators to discuss concerns in general and specific to the village of Grange Park. As required under the Act, travel expenditures are itemized on the attached travel form in our packet. Once approved by the village board, staff will process expenditures in accordance with the village's travel expense policy adopted by the board in January 2017. I'd like to make a motion to approve travel expenses in the amount of $1,007.91 for attending the IML Lobby Day in Springfield, Illinois.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Zora?
I feel like this is a formality. We went to Springfield to lobby for the village, and I feel like it was successful. We met with several senators, and I think we should approve this.
Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner,
Yes.
Trustee Zora,
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Caputo.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
And that's all I have for administration.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Moving on to Building and Zoning Committee. Trustee Zora?
Yes, I'd like to report the building department activities for March of 2025. Sorry, 61 building permits were issued in March 2025 compared to 60 issued in 2024. As of March, the pace of permit submittals year-to-date are consistent with the number of submittals at this time last year. Estimated construction costs for last month were just over $1.6 million, which is more than the just over $1.2 million that was realized in March 2024. Permit fees collected last month were just over $53,000, which is more than double the permit fees collected in 2024. 46 building inspections were conducted this past month compared to 112 in March 2024. All inspections were approved. The reduction in number of inspections can be related to the significant building activity that occurred in 2024 at Kensington Place. 5 new code enforcement cases were recorded. 4 of those projects were closed out, and 1 remains with further code enforcement action. And then I have one item for discussion and action. And this item is for a variation request at 306 North the Grange Road. Stephen May and Michael Bogart are the applicants, are seeking 2 zoning variations in order to construct a new detached 2-car garage that's 3 feet from the rear lot line at 306 North the Grange Road. The subject property is located in the R1 single-family residential zoning district and is currently improved with a single-family home, attached single-car garage, and parking. The owners are proposing to remove the 242 square foot attached single-car garage and the surrounding concrete and construct a new 400 square foot detached garage, just 20 feet by 20 feet over a portion of the existing parking pad. The new garage will be located 3 feet from the rear property line as measured from the eave in order to maximize the size of the driveway apron. The larger driveway apron would allow for more space to turn vehicles around to pull onto the Grange Road, which is a state roadway. In order to construct the new 2-car detached garage and build it in the proposed location, the owner submitted an application for variations to request approval of a variation to increase the maximum building coverage from 30% to 31.24%, and a variation to decrease the minimum rear lot line setback for a detached garage from 5 feet to 3 feet. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing regarding the application for variations on March 18th, 2025. The applicant attended the public hearing and provided testimony. The minutes from the public hearing, the court reporter transcript, and the findings of fact are all attached in our memorandum. Upon conclusion of the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the 2 variations by a unanimous vote of 5-0. Staff concurs with the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission. I'd like to make a motion to approve an ordinance granting variations for 306 North LaGrange Road for Stephen May and Michael Bogart, case number 25-0001.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Trustee Zora?
Thank you. I attended the public hearing, and the applicant is here tonight, and he was also here that night. So if anyone has any questions, you can ask him. It was very well done between staff and the applicant, and I think everyone commented on that. But it's pretty straightforward. I mean, they have several hardships on this property. They're on the Grange Road. The lot is sort of pie-shaped. It's angled, so that's why the rear lot line has, we're requesting that variation, and I see no reason not to approve this.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Any other comments from the board? Seeing none? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner,
Yes.
Trustee Zora,
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Caputo.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Congratulations, Steve and Michael. Okay, thank you, Trustee Zora. Moving on to Engineering Capital Projects Committee, Trustee Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. National Power Riding, Inc. was rewarded contracts for 24-25 sewer lining. program. They began work March 31st, 2025, and are scheduled to complete by April 30th, 2025. The work is concentrated on Stonegate and Scottsdale. Visual Sewer of Illinois LLC was awarded the 2024-2025 sewer cleaning and televising contract. They are scheduled to begin the work in mid-April and completed by April 30th, 2025. Work continues on the plans and specs for the village's 2025 water main improvement project, which will focus on the design of water main replacements on Kings Court and Castle Circle. This work is anticipated to be out for bid in April 2025. And lastly, work began on the design of the 2025 Park Road Improvements Project, which includes work on the 300 and 400 blocks of Park Road. The intent is to build the project in May and start construction on the roadway in mid-June to coincide with school being done for the summer. And that concludes my capital and engineering capital projects report this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. Okay, moving on, Public Safety Committee, Trustee Caputo.
Thank you, President DeCipio. I'm going to go over the the Police Department summary first of activities for March 2025. Total number of crimes reported for the first 3 months of 2025 are slightly lower than last year, with 51 incidents reported this year compared to 63 and 24. Traffic enforcement is at 1,188 total tickets issued through March of 2025. Overall police activity is 13% higher to last year, with 1,153 total incidents reported in the month of March 2025 compared to 1,012 total incidents in March of 2024. Of those 1,153 total incidents, 45 were assists to the fire department, 282 were self-initiated building or park checks, 187 were traffic stops, and 158 were closed home checks. Department members attended 243.5 hours of training, along with the completion of required monthly online training, Lexipol daily training bulletins, along with bloodborne pathogens and hazmat training. Probationary officer Pinckney completed the field training process and was released to solo patrol. Numerous members of the department took part in the Special Olympics polar plunge and raised nearly $3,200 for this cause. The Board of Police Commissioners held interviews with eligible candidates and formalized an eligibility list. And then mark your calendars and do not miss the opportunity for the upcoming Police Department special events. We have the National Nights Out this year, which will again be partaking in National Night Out with the villages of Western Springs, LaGrange, and the city of Countryside. The event will take place on Tuesday, August 5th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Denning Park in LaGrange. Denning Park is located at 4903 South Gilbert Avenue. Please follow us on social media for further details as this event gets closer. The DEA Drug Takeover Back Day is Saturday, April 26th, this Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Village Hall lobby. This program offers a safe, convenient, and responsible means of disposing of unwanted or expired medications. Please note, only drugs in a pill form will be accepted, no liquids, please. Empty all drugs from their original containers, bottles, or blister packs and place in a sealed baggie for drop-off. If you can't make it on the 26th, a permanent drop box is located in the Village Hall lobby with drop-off access during regular business hours of 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Please follow the police department on our Facebook page at LaGrange Park Police Department, our Twitter account at LaGrange Park PD, and Instagram at LaGrange Park PD. And also a friendly reminder about securing one's personal property at all times. Please lock your vehicles in residence, especially during overnight hours. If you are going on vacation, please utilize the new online vacation watch portal, frontlinepss.com/LaGrange Park, or log on to the village website and access the portal under the police department page. If you do not have internet access, feel free to fill out a vacation watch card at the PD between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. And as always, contact us if you have any questions or need information. On to the fire department report for March. EMS incidents this month are 178. There have been 559 year-to-date compared to 464 year-to-date in 2024. The fire rescue incidents this month are 65. There have been 166 year-to-date compared to 137 year-to-date in 2024. Firefighter paramedic Ulrich gave CPR and first aid training to Little League coaches and staff. The fire department personnel hosted a fire station tour for Daisy Girl Scouts. And on March 7th, PSI paramedic firefighter Jake Weiner graduated from the Fire Academy. We have been requested to begin responding with our ladder truck to Western Springs north of 47th Street for all structural related calls. This includes fire alarms, smoke scares, and fires. The fire department personnel installed an AED on the lower level of the village hall. Our hydraulic rescue tools underwent annual inspection and testing. A few repairs were made. A special meeting and election were held for a vacancy on foreign fire insurance board. On our foreign fire insurance board. Anthony Zito passed probation and was sworn in as a POC firefighter. Captain Chris Bodler and Lieutenant Evan Lilly were also formally sworn into their new promoted positions. New permanent door signage was installed at both fire stations, and I have a couple quick incidents of interest. On Saturday, March 15th at 12:18 p.m., we responded with an engine in chief to assist Brookfield with a fire at Off-Broadway Pub at 9048 Monroe. The fire was confined to some stud spaces inside the front walls of the business. And on Sunday, March 16th at 6:17 p.m., we responded to a report of smoke in a home at the 1100 block of Ostrander. Upon arrival and investigation, fire companies found everyone out of the home and a fire burning inside the furnace, spreading heavy smoke throughout the home. Firefighters extinguished the fire and were able to rescue a pet cat. That concludes the two summaries. I have one item on my agenda, and the topic is Kennel Services, Hinsdale Humane Society Agreement. The general background is the police department's agreement with Hinsdale Humane Society commenced on April 1st of 2025. With that being said, in order to continue to utilize the service of the Hinsdale Humane Society, also known as HHS, for kennel services on unclaimed animals, a new agreement must be effectuated. In working with the village attorney and HHS, a new agreement and resolution was finalized. Of significant note is that the impound fee went up from $375 per animal to $385 per animal, and that there will be an automatic annual increase of 3.5% April 1st of each year. With the recent amendments of the village municipal code, the village adopted an ordinance specific to impound fees. Section 92.034C states that the owner of an impounded animal must pay the impounded fee and any other costs incurred by the impoundment facility. We would issue a local citation to the owner in the amount of $385 to recoup the impound fee. The staff recommendation is for the staff to recommend the village board approval of the Stray Animal Partnership-Based Services Agreement between the Village of Grange Park and the Hinsdale Humane Society. This motion is an item being placed on today's agenda for discussion and action, and the motion is to approve a resolution authorizing the execution of a Stray Animal Partnership-Based Services Agreement with the Hinsdale Humane Society for the provision of stray animal services.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion?
Yes, thank you, President DeCipio. I feel this is such a nominal fee, and like anything, fees and cost of expenses and service and labor are going up. I'm in favor of it, and I think that 3.5% is a moderate cost of expense on an annual basis to go with. So I'd be in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Caputo. Any other comments from the board? I have a question. I don't know if our attorney or Julie or Chief. So when an animal goes in and the owners are located, or the owners come in and get it, they pick up the animal and then we get invoiced $385 and then we issue a citation to the resident, correct? What if nobody picks up the animal? Okay, so then on the other question I had was on section 9, it says, let me see, our attorney, section 9. So all animals will be held for a period of 7 days unless otherwise directed by the village president, village manager, or is directed by court order. Other than court order, Hinsdale Humane Society shall not be asked to hold any animal for a reasonable amount of time. Will that animal be euthanized? Will it be put up for adoption? What happens to that animal? And will we still be charged the retaining fee?
Yes, I believe we're charged a fee no matter what. And I don't believe Hinsdale Humane Society euthanizes any animals.
Okay, so it'll be put up for adoption then?
Yes.
Okay. See no other questions? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner,
Yes.
Trustee Zora,
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Caputo.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you,
Yeah,
Trustee
thank you.
Caputo.
That concludes.
Okay, moving on, Public Works Committee, Trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, we'll do the monthly report. Public Works repaired one water main break for the month and replaced one lead service line. Only one salting event occurred this month, which appears to be the last event of the winter. For the entire winter season, staff salted and plowed 3,062 miles of roadway using 456 tons of salt. The average pounds of salt applied per lane was 315 pounds over 22 events. One combined sewer frame was adjusted to grade and 2 catch basins were replaced. Staff removed 9 dead or declining trees from parkways at various locations. Street sweeping has started and they were able to make 2 passes through the entire town. Staff attended a day at the National Work Truck Show in Indianapolis to learn and see new equipment and technology. Staff participated in a demo from Wax Equipment for a new pipe cutting saw. Spoil and debris was hauled out of the village dump site. Street patches were completed along with pothole repairs. GIS work has continued collecting data and village-owned assets along with continued training throughout the village. Water meters were read in sections 1, 2, and 3 as the village transitions to monthly billing. This was the last month of quarterly billing for section 3. Next month, all sections will be on monthly reads. 15 monthly bacterial water samples were taken. Various water and sewer work orders were completed, along with resident tree concerns and general construction inquiries. Routine maintenance of the department's fleet and equipment was completed, as well to the police and fire vehicles. Mr. President, as I spoke to you before the meeting, I'd also like to add that from the Illinois Department of Transportation, week April 21 to 25 is National Work Zone Awareness Week. And the slogan is a pretty good one. The slogan is respect the zone so we all go home. Something we definitely need to more people to follow. With that, we'll switch over to our action item. Waive the competitive bid for upcoming public works contracts. The purpose, this agenda item seeks the board's consensus to waive the competitive bid process for certain upcoming material supply, procurement, and services contracts in lieu of solicitation of competitive proposals. The Public Works Department will present several new contracts to the board for approval in the coming months. However, instead of bidding these projects with a newspaper notice, staff will solicit competitive proposals from a group of area contractors by issuing requests for proposals, RFPs, to expedite the process. In recent years, bidding on non-capital projects has proven time-consuming, costly in advertising, and limited in bids. Requesting a group of contractors who are typically the same contractors that respond to the village's past competitive bid request to provide competitive pricing allows staff to present specific contract cores to ensure competitive pricing. Staff will distribute the RFP to qualified contractors and post it on the village's website and the Illinois Municipal League's public notice, localpublicnotices.org. Upcoming RFPs: tree removal, stump grinding, emergency tree work, general tree maintenance, pruning and not associated with section tree trimming, section tree trimming, winter, stone, gravel, and spoil hauling. Staff seeks the board's consensus to move forward with RFPs and waive the competitive bid process for these upcoming contracts. If the board agrees, staff will present RFPs and bring forth these contracts at a later meeting. This motion is for discussion and action. Therefore, Mr. President, make a motion, authorize staff to proceed with request for proposals and waive competitive bids for the above public works contracts.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion, trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with this. Like it said, when I'd gone out for bid before numerous times, only a couple contractors submit their bids, and I think probably the same will hold true going through in the future. Saves money and staff time, and transparency. It will be on the village's website along with the IML's public notice site. So I support this.
Thank you, trustee Sheehan. Any other comments from the board? Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. Certainly concur with the approach and the potential benefits. I always like to confirm with legal counsel that there's no issue with this approach, first of all.
And no issue at all. I discussed it with staff, and it's something I've used in other places as well.
And secondly, does this preclude any other potential contractors that catch wind that there is an opportunity that it would preclude them since they're not on the list of those that we're soliciting?
No, and actually, the whole point of having the RFP listed on the village's website and the IML is to cover your end on that basis, right? Anybody that gets wind of it, anybody that learns of the RFP, they're going to be able to submit. So it's truly a waiver of the bid process in lieu of soliciting competitive proposals.
Thank you. Then I would support.
Thank you, trustee Lautner. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zara?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
That concludes public works, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Sheehan. I don't know if we need a drum roll for this one or what. Finance Committee, trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening I have the monthly report through March, which is 11/12 of the fiscal year, ending in April 30th, 2025, and then 2 items for action. First of all, fiscal year-to-date general fund revenue of $11,273,691 is at 96.3% of the annual budget and $399,075, or 3.7% higher than last year. Property tax receipts are $105,711, or 2.5% greater than last year. Other local taxes are lower by $33,173, or 3.3%, primarily due to declines in telecommunications taxes, as well as cable franchise fee payments. Telecommunication tax continues a long-term decline due to the move to more data-driven technologies. Cable franchise fees are now in a similar long-term decline as streaming replaces traditional cable services. Intergovernmental receipts are up $295,043, or 8.3% from last year. Sales tax and income tax continue to trend higher, while use tax and personal property replacement tax are lower. Based on the most recent Illinois Municipal League estimates, the state use tax and personal property replacement tax will be below the amount we budgeted for fiscal year 24-25, while income tax will be above budget. Licenses and registration fees are at $4,026, or 1.4% lower than last year. Permit receipts are at $74,082, or 17% lower than the prior year, and that's due primarily to large new construction projects last year. Charges for services are at $30,729, or 3.5% lower than last year, and the village has experienced a delay in the receipt of payments for ambulance service in recent months, and staff is working with the village's billing service to hopefully resolve that issue soon. Fine revenue is at $63,559, or 94.6% higher than last year, and that's due to parking and compliance tickets. Miscellaneous revenue is at $76,772, or 17.8% greater than last year, and that's due to increased income. And total general fund expenditures of $9,771,255 are at 89.1% of the annual budget, and $494,896, or 5.3% greater than last year. And the increase is primarily due to personnel costs, police pension contributions, tree maintenance, and paramedic services. And importantly, all departments are within budget expectations, thanks to all the departments for their combined efforts in accomplishing that. And the exciting part of the evening is discussion and pending approval of the fiscal year 25-26 budget and 5-year plan. The Finance Committee held meetings on March 11th, March 18th, and April 8th to review the draft fiscal year 25-26 budget and the 5-year plan. At the March 11th meeting, staff presented a comprehensive overview of the proposed budget and plan. During the March 18th meeting, the committee reviewed a series of questions related to program costs, and staff provided a very detailed response to each of those questions. At that same meeting, the committee recommended that the village board support the addition of 1 full-time police officer, and that recommendation was included in the draft budget and subsequently reviewed at the March 25th village board meeting. On April 8th, the Finance Committee formally recommended village board approval of the fiscal year 25-26 budget and 5-year plan, inclusive of the staff's recommended changes. That same evening, a public hearing was held on the budget, and the changes were included as part of the staff presentation. And now the most up-to-date draft of the budget now incorporates all the recommended adjustments. Incorporated into the updated fiscal year 25-26 budget and 5-year plan, the following changes were reviewed and supported by the Finance Committee. There was an additional funding for legal services at $13,800 into the general fund, water fund, and sewer funds. Homestead Road water main engineering was added at $231,700 into the water fund. There was discussion and addition of Park Road engineering was reduced from $110,000, was reduced to $110,000 from $235,000 into the motor fuel tax fund. And in the 5-year plan, the homestead from the area of Jackson to Oak engineering was moved from years 2 and 3 to years 1 and 2. And the explanation of the changes that were discussed and recommended: for legal services, with updated billing data from the village's new legal services provider, a modest adjustment of $13,800 is now recommended to adequately fund legal expenses across the general, water, and sewer funds, and the revised budget is consistent with the current fiscal year 24-25 funding levels. Homestead Road water main engineering, in coordination with the Central Area Sewer Separation Project, the Homestead water main replacement must be advanced by 1 year. This ensures coordinated construction and minimizes disruptions in the same geographic area. Updated engineering costs are reflected in the fiscal year 25-26 budget and 5-year plan. And in the Park Road engineering area, the engineering budget was adjusted to reflect that a portion of the work must occur in the current fiscal year, and that's to facilitate the construction before the 25-26 school year. The remaining cost is included in the fiscal year 25-26. Next steps for this evening's meeting: following approval, the adopted fiscal year 25-26 budget and 5-year plan will be published on the village's website and formally distributed to the village board and staff. This item, of course, is initially for discussion and action then this evening. So first of all, I'd like to make a motion to approve an ordinance approving the fiscal year 25-26 operating budget for the village of Grange Park.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion, trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to just comment on the extensive work effort by everyone involved in village staff to produce the quality product that we have experienced year after year, and every year it seems to get better and better. It's a significant amount of effort that has created and is now being presented to our board and then ultimately to the village for the guideline of how this village is going to operate on the upcoming year basis, first of all. And I'd just like to encourage, before I submit it for final approval, I'd like to encourage all of our residents to spend some time and see how our money is being spent as residents and how this village is being operated. the narrative process that each of the department heads and the village manager go through to produce this document is well worth everybody's time to understand just what goes into running this village as efficiently as it is being run. So I couldn't, I'll say, be prouder as a trustee and as a village resident of how this staff is making sure that they are fiduciarily responsible in running this village as efficient, I think, as possible. The work is here. We're always open for questions, for clarification, but I think it's something that is well worth everyone's time to at least understand the narrative that describes how our monies as residents are being spent in this village. So with that, I will say that I will heartily support this for the 25-26 fiscal year.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Any other comments from the board? I would just like to, again, thank the staff and Julia for all the hard work going into this, and of course the Finance Committee, led by Trustee Lautner and Trustee Stewart and Trustee Caputo, for going through this and digesting it and coming out with a document that our residents can all look at, as you said, and be proud of. So thank you, Trustee Lautner. Pardon? And Larry. Well, yeah, staff. Larry, our Finance Director. Where would we be without you, Larry? Sorry.
With our new award, too.
Yeah, and our new award. We'll mention that. Megan, call the roll, please.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
For our second motion, I would like to submit a motion to approve the fiscal year 25-26 to 29/30 5-year plan.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Trustee Lautner?
And further comments about this is a continuation of where we see the village going over the next 5 years. It's a plan that really has significant effort in trying to provide a guideline. And here again, I encourage everyone to at least understand where we see this village going over the next 5-year period and capital impact and how we anticipate we're going to roll things out. And you see by some of the amendments that were suggested here to make sure that we do, as the staff does, as efficient process as possible, trying to avoid school seasons, things of that nature. Make sure that we don't complete a project that and then the next year has to be torn up. So the 5-year plan is as important as well as that I would support.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
And I have one more item. For this current fiscal year 24-25 budget, we have some amendments that we are recommending. The village the village policy requires that the village board amend the annual budget if the total expenditures for a department or fund will exceed the approved budget. State statute authorizes the village board to revise the budget by a 2/3 vote. The following amendments are proposed for the fiscal year 24-25, and in all cases, funds are available for these increased expenditures. First, the general fund budget requires an amendment of $2 million to provide for a transfer of cash reserves to the sewer fund for supporting the central area sewer separation project. Second, the motor fuel tax fund budget requires an amendment of $116,800, and that's due to moving up the timing of the Park Road design engineering. Third, the 31st Street LaGrange Road Business District fund budget requires an amendment of $35,000 due to the development consulting services contract for properties along LaGrange Road. Also, the 31st Barnesdale Business District fund budget requires an amendment of $384,000 due to the purchase of the Newberry property. And last, the Risk Management Fund budget requires an amendment of $35,000 for the annual contribution to the village's insurance pool, which increased more than anticipated due primarily to rising insurance costs. So the action that is requested, the village board has discussed and reviewed these amendments at the April 8th work session, and there was consensus to include the following motion on the April 22nd agenda. So I'd like to submit a motion to approve an ordinance amending the fiscal year 24-25 operating budget for the village of Grange Park.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion, trustee Lautner again?
Thank you, Mr. President. In my absence, the Finance Committee, led by Jermaine Stewart and participated by Trustee Caputo, did discuss these. I had further conversation to make sure that I understood what the recommendations were, and as such, I understand and recommend these as the Finance Committee. So I would support them.
Thank you, trustee Lautner. Any other comments from the board? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
This is a corporate authorities vote.
Also President DeCipio has to vote.
On this one, it is.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, council.
And
you.
as such, I think that that concludes the Finance Committee report for this evening.
And thank you again, trustee Lautner. Before we move on, I think it's important not only that we toot our own horn, but that we hear the horns from other people outside our village here. And Larry, I'm going to commend you again on the great work that you've done as our finance director, and the trust that we all have in you and our residents should have in you and the stewards of our funds. And we received the Government Finance Officers Association of U.S. and Canada, the Certificate of Achievement in Financial Reporting Award to our village. And this is its annual comprehensive financial report for fiscal year ending April 2024. It's an award for the comprehensive audit that we submit. It's a significant achievement, highest form of recognition in the area of government accounting and financial reporting. So I commend you, Larry, for the work that you do for us. Class act, and you do a great job financially for us, so we appreciate everything that you do. And our residents should hear this, that it's not only us tooting our horn because we're so proud of our staff and all the hard work that you guys do, but we're hearing it from outside sources too, and that's what makes it our chest bump out so far. So thank you so much. Okay, moving on. Other reports. Village clerk,
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
our village treasurer, village engineer, village council,
No report tonight.
commercial revitalization committee, trustee Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. LaGrange Road Traffic Safety Improvements Project. Join us for a public open house to discuss LaGrange Road Traffic Safety Improvements Project on Wednesday, April 23rd, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the LaGrange Park Public Library on 555 North LaGrange Road. Whether you walk, bike, or drive, your input is essential in helping us design a safer, more walkable, accessible corridor. We look forward to an interactive discussion on the future of LaGrange Road. After the open house, the village will launch an online community survey for those unable to attend and who wish to provide additional feedback. A follow-up public meeting is planned for September, where the village and project team will share refined project concepts and continue the conversations on potential improvements. Facade and property revitalization program. The village is accepting applications for the facade and property revitalization program, which assists property and business owners who aim to enhance the external appearance of their properties. In order to be eligible, a building must be used for commercial purposes and must be located within one of the village's TIF and or business districts. Visit the village's website for more information. CRC committee, stay up to date on what's happening in LaGrange Park by attending the village's CRC committee meetings. The committee meets regularly to discuss how the village is best support new and existing businesses and enhance the commercial areas in town. Upcoming topics will include upcoming streetscape projects around the village market and 31st Street. Check the calendar page on the village's website for upcoming meeting dates and agendas. And that concludes my report this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Stewart. Motion to approve committee and collectors reports as presented.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I just have a couple of items. Number one,
Julia, myself, and Trustee Lautner will be going down to Springfield on Tuesday to again meet with our legislators and IDOT to again propose our projects and what our recommendations are. Hopefully to get IDOT to recognize that we really want to reduce our speed limit on LaGrange Road by only 5 miles. Also, I'd like to recognize, we'll be having swearing in of trustees and village president in one of our May meetings. I think it'll be our second meeting in May that Julie and I will discuss and come forward with that. But I'd like to recognize Nick Diaferio, who's was just elected as trustee. So welcome, Nick. And I have 2 proclamations to read. One is Celebrate Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting of trees. Whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. Whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. Whereas trees in LaGrange Park increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas the village of LaGrange Park has been designated as Tree City USA for 37 years by the National Arbor Day Foundation, whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the village of LaGrange Park proclaims Friday, April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day. And with that, I'd like to thank our Public Works Department for maintaining our trees and keeping them such in great shape. So thank you, Rick, and to you and your staff. Next proclamation is the 56th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 4th to May 10th, 2025. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. Whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas the professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk. Therefore, the Village of LaGrange Park recognizes the week of May 4th, May 10th, 2025 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Further extends appreciations to our professional municipal clerk, Megan Coy, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. And I failed to mention that we will be installing our clerk on that day too in May. We are blessed to have an individual with the integrity and the professionalism as Megan. And Megan, it's a pleasure to serve with you. Thank you. Okay, public participation. Anyone care to address the board? Moving on to new business. Any new business? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Everyone have a great week. Thank you.